Now, as we've been hearing this morning, Boris Johnson has urged people in England to stay at home from next Thursday under a 4-week national lockdown to prevent the NHS being overwhelmed with COVID cases. Schools and universities will be allowed to remain open, and the furlough scheme for workers will be extended at 80% of their wages until December. But non-essential shops will close, bars and restaurants will shut, and households won't be allowed to socialise unless they're part of a support bubble. Places of worship will also close unless they're being used for funerals, food banks, childcare, or for individual prayer. Let's speak now to Pastor Andrew Kisumba, who leads Cedar Church in Kingstanding. Good morning.
Good morning, Samantha. How are you?
I'm very well this morning. How are you?
Good. Uplifted by that Kylie tune. I really like that.
Are you aware that she lives in a matchbox because she's so small?
I don't know about that, but I've got a special bit of information for you.
Go
We
on.
produce music that is the producer of which used to be a backing dancer for Kylie.
You're so showbiz.
Well, we didn't know that until afterwards. He's kept that quiet. Yeah, so there you go. That's all I know about Kylie.
And now you know she lives in a matchbox.
Now I know she lives in a matchbox, yeah.
So what's your reaction to the Prime Minister's announcement yesterday, Andrew?
What's interesting is we've been meeting with West Midlands Mayor Andy Street and, of course, the council and other organisations to think about what we could do to help people. Back when the pandemic started, we opened a food bank here at the church to take donations for the NHS. But this time around, we wanted to do something a little bit more. So we're still going to carry on with the food bank starting on Thursday, leading up to Christmas. But we've just launched last month something called Hope Again, which is a community initiative to help people find jobs, advertise their services, invest in their training and education, or other people to invest in potential employees and entrepreneurs, to train, to retrain, or get some training in areas of difference from what you're doing now, and for people to hire. And it's like a digital notice board that's available to the community, and we've already launched it. It's cedarhope.com, and if you go on there, you'll find links to people who are doing things online and you're able in these dark days to actually have some hope that there is something in the pipeline in the future. So even though the traditional businesses and things are going to close down, which is very sad and it's tough for people, it's not a time necessarily just to sit down and do nothing. There's some local organizations who are brilliant at helping people get online. We're linked in with a company called DigiKicks, who help people get online and figure out how to navigate their devices. Likewise, we've got a link to the West Midlands Combined Authority website for youth employment, and there are all sorts of opportunities on there to help with CVs, help the graduates that Boris was talking about to find some placements, and that's all across the West Midlands. So we're hoping that in this time of difficulty, people will see this as maybe as an opportunity to grow in other areas.
What a fantastic initiative.
Well, we just didn't want to sit back and see and think, oh, well, here we go again, because actually the people of this city are so creative. One of the people that we link with is he's called James White. He's one of the winners. He won the BBC Apprentice a couple of years ago, and so many of these local business people, the botanical gardens and others, they're willing to give some time to help people work on their CVs, on interview techniques, get into volunteering, because it can be difficult, isolating, can't it? But get into volunteering and doing things online to keep yourself active. And also there's a notice board where talented people can showcase their talents. We've got a brilliant violinist in the church who she completed her degree with a first-class honours at the Royal School of Music in Royal Northern in Manchester. And of course, with the furlough and the arts suffering, she hasn't been able to get out, but she's trying to do things online. So we've got a spotlight for her. And we're hoping that this will expand and others will be able to show what they can do creatively online in the run-up to Christmas. Maybe even have a virtual Christmas market. That would be something, just to keep people's hopes up. And in the midst of it all, we've got some Christmas music coming as well, just to put a smile on people's faces. And we've already put our Christmas decorations up, Samantha. How about that? Just to cheer up the neighborhood.
And of course, your congregation has had to become a little more tech savvy, shall
That's
we
right.
say,
Yeah.
during
Yes.
lockdown.
Yeah.
How have they reacted to that?
Well, they've been brilliant. It was tough at first because, of course, businesses are used to operating online, but churches sadly have been left behind, but not anymore. We're now at the forefront. We've even got a church app, Samantha. Would you believe it?
I
If you
wouldn't believe it.
go onto the App Store, Apple or Google, type in Cedar Church, or come up Cedar Church, Birmingham. You can download our app for free. And on there, we've got music videos, we've got our services, we've got a community page where you can link to that initiative, Hope Again, and also, as well as giving food out to families like we did for this half term on Monday at Christmas who will be struggling, we're also trying to get the council, and this is where I'm trying to get some help here, to give out some vitamin D. Vitamin D is very good at helping us to boost the immunity to fight this virus. And of course, with the dark days, the long nights of winter, there's not as much sunshine.
Absolutely.
So vitamin D is vital. So we've got an initiative called Boost D Immunity in D Community. And we're hoping that as well as giving out food and things at Christmas, we'll be able to give out something healthy so people can be fighting fit to face this long-term battle that we have on our hands. But we'll get through it. We'll get through it with working together and supporting one another. And also, like I said, with that music with Kylie, we've got our own music. We want to just put a smile on people's faces and lift their spirits at this difficult time.
And it has been, a pretty grim morning this morning,
Oh,
speaking
yes.
to
Yeah.
people about the business districts here in
Yeah.
Birmingham and speaking to the listeners as well who've been contacting us this morning. They're all
Yeah.
feeling a bit low, we all are, I think, apart
Yeah.
from you, who sounds
Well,
very buoyant this
I
morning.
I do feel it. Both my parents are now, they've gone on to be with the Lord, I believe. But I come from Uganda, a country of great hardship. My father died 2 days before Christmas. He died at the end of a brutal regime there in Uganda. And my mum used to always say, tough times never last, but tough people do. And she had to start a business in her mid-40s when my father passed away, and she had no income, and she was a pharmacist. And she started that, and in the midst of that difficulty, I learned from her this resilience. And so even though it is tough, there is a resilience. I think people are stronger than they think. And actually, when you connect with, we believe there's a love that comes from above that can join us together, and that gives us strength to get through these difficult times. So it's not ignoring the pain, but it's trying to see beyond that to what is actually ahead. And there are good times ahead when we tap into the right sources and make the right connections. And thank you for your program, for putting a smile on people's faces and for doing what you're doing, because whoever's listening out there is hope for the future. It is tough now, but together we can get through it.
Pastor Andrew Kisumba from the Cedar Church in Kingstanding. I could talk to you all morning, but I don't know how you're going to top that last statement. So we'll leave it there. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you very much, and take care.
You too.